Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of F1 23 Driver Career Mode here on the channel, fresh off of a runner-up result in Abu Dhabi, bringing us into the penultimate round of the season. Alex Albon, even with the disqualification DNF, he was able to clinch the World Drivers' Championship for the second season in a row. Coming in to Jeddah for the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix weekend, we had our final bit of big team news for next season. We have seen a season where many teams are rebranding going into Season 6, and we have another team, Alpine, officially being rebranded to Lotus, as they will be coming back in and taking over the Alpine team to rejoin the grid. So Lotus returns to Formula One, of course, an incredible team. Back in the day, they have won 7 world championships, over 70 wins in Formula One, just over 100 pole positions, over 150 podiums as well. Can they return that team to glory, as we have seen Alpine continue to fade? What does this mean for Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly, the only lineup that hasn't changed all career mode? I think we're getting ready to see eventually, for the first time, a change in the driver lineup over there. So Lotus joins the grid. And if you've been out of the loop as we get ready to roll into qualifying, that means now, 4 team rebrands? That has been the big trend. There's no regulation changes coming in the next season, and I think a lot of new brands that wanted to come in this season saw that no changes are coming. It's a better time now than ever to get in. So Alpine to Lotus. McLaren will be, of course, partnering with Toyota, and then as well we have Williams partnering with Lamborghini, and then the other big one, Haas, selling everything, as Andretti will come in and take over, which keeps those 2 American teams on the grid. So 4 teams at least changing, having a rebrand, or having a new partner come on for next season. A very exciting time now, as you can see. P12 actually was all I was able to really put up here in Q1. Now, as you see, Zhou and Hughes at the bottom of the grid. Williams and their rebrand with Lamborghini needs to be big, because they are really struggling right now here. As you can see myself, speaking of struggling in Q2, hitting things, not what I want to be doing. Fortunately, I didn't damage the car, but I was only P12 in Q2 because of that mistake. So, had to make a second attempt here. Fortunately, a clean second lap would allow me to go about 6.5 tenths of improvement, putting myself into P9 over Verstappen. My teammate currently P1. Piastri out because Jack Doohan again continues to impress, and he was able to get inside the top 10 going into Q number 3. We roll through now into Q3 here, and first lap again. Really, my first lap in every session hasn't been very impressive. It's kind of been sloppy. Q1 it was, and that's why we were only P12. I just didn't need to make a second lap. Q2 it was sloppy. Q3 a bit sloppy as well, and we crossed the line and we are only P10. We're behind Jack Doohan in the Connor Sport machine, going for, of course, a second lap, running a little bit too deep there into turn 1, but it's okay. We still actually gain time overall. But right here on the exit of the long sweeping left-hander, I'm actually going to hit the wall and damage the wings, so we're just going to have to settle for P10. Not what I wanted. On the opposite side of things, my teammate Felipe Drugovich on pole position. Will he return to Red Bull next season? There's starting to be some questions raised about that. He could maybe change his future tonight. Let's go racing.
We're here today on the shores of the Red Sea in the Lower Hijaz Mountains to visit one of the newest circuits on the Formula One calendar. We're in Jeddah, home to what we all hope is going to be a thrilling Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. So let's take a look at the topographical map of the Jeddah Street Circuit. As you can see, a number of challenging corners for the drivers to master here. We'll see just how much the teams have benefited from their time spent in practice this weekend. And like many street circuits, this track has the potential to punish drivers that get it wrong. Let's hope we avoid any safety cars today. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Felipe Drugovich lines up on pole position, and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Hamilton, Albon, Jackson, Leclerc, Verstappen, Doohan, Golden Boy, Oscar Piastri, Mayer, Gasly, Sainz, Ocon, Tsunoda, Armstrong, Liam Lawson, Zhou, and Jake Hughes. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And it's an absolute pleasure to be joined once more by Anthony Davidson.
And they can do it for sure, as long as they don't dwell too much on the position. At the end of the day, there's only one way to go racing, and that's to give it everything you've got. Either your best is good enough to stay in the hunt, or it's not. There's no point giving any less than 100%.
We're ready to roll there in the ending shot. You see the Alpine soon to be rebranded to Lotus now. We're going to be starting as usual of late on the softs. Norris actually up there, P2 starting on mediums, and then a few drivers towards the back of the grid. Let's get ready to go racing. Formation lap underway.
The formation lap gets underway here in Saudi Arabia, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure their car's ready for the battle once the lights go out.
Ready to roll, and you can see right there Jack Doohan as well joining everybody else on mediums, but the majority of the top 10 all on softs.
As the cars come back towards the grid to line up for the start of the race, each driver will be wanting to get the best start they possibly can, and they'll be hoping to finish today's race on the podium, failing that, within the points.
Alright team, 2 races to go. Let's finish the season on a high.
Yep, I agree. Let's finish this season on a high.
Following last episode where we saw Trackhouse win their first race and specifically Charles Leclerc, there's been a few rumors circulating around the paddock that team principal Christian Horner is looking to almost do a swap between Trackhouse and Red Bull with Drugovich for Leclerc. We're going to wait and see how much weight that holds going into the season finale now as we are ready to roll here from Jeddah. Now it's going to be 5 red lights and lights out. We're racing here from the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Speaking of Leclerc, terrible start there for the Monaco-based driver on the run into turn 1. Drugovich side by side with the Mercedes. Is it going to come out on top? Hold on. They'll be continuously wheel to wheel through this first and opening sector. You got the McLaren right there in third, ready to pounce on it, but Drugovich is going to keep it pinned. He stays ahead of Lando Norris there, who has to settle in to the second position. Now Alex Albon there in third, Russell just behind as they continue through the sharp and tight, windy, narrow S's here, which is such a easy part of this circuit to pick up, of course, a track limits warning here, so we're going to be very careful today, and we didn't start exactly where we wanted to in this Grand Prix, down there in P10, so we got some work to do. Albon under pressure still from Russell through into third place as we continue to watch this Mercedes team exceed, as they did pick up their first win of the season just recently in Suzuka there for the Japanese Grand Prix. The Alpine going at it right there as well. Here comes the Trackhouse machine of Leclerc. I was able to get Leclerc, of course, on that start, but he has fought back and run me down, and I decide just have it, Charles. He absolutely flying past me there, so really not going to hold him up on this opening lap. We can maybe actually settle in behind him, follow him up to some cars in front of us, and that's exactly what we would do. Within the next lap, we are already on the back of a group of cars here. Drugovich still out in front. Yellow flag already actually behind us, it looks like. And yes, that's a slow moving Williams, it appears. And that was actually going to be Jake Hughes who's out. And I also picked up a warning right there for exceeding track limits just as that was happening. So Hughes out with a mechanical failure on just the second lap of this Grand Prix. Williams Lamborghini really can't come soon enough here. Now, as you can see, lap 3 now coming to lap 4. Leclerc passing Callie Mayer there, and Mayer down to P9. Jack Doohan was the one that out-qualified her, but he has dropped down to P12 on that start. As you can see, Leclerc with a big lockup there into turn number 1. That really puts a big gap between himself and the cars in front, and Callie Mayer is going to put the fight to him. Now, Mayer really has proven that she will not back down from a fight, and I absolutely love it. As you can see here, trying to go around the outside now of Leclerc on the run towards that final hairpin wheel to wheel with the Trackhouse machine, who locks up. I'm going to go for the hole and contact there, and damage done to the right side of the front wing immediately. We're going to have to come into the pit lane there. That was all on me. That was really a silly decision to try and fill that hole. I don't know what I was thinking on that one. We've done it before, and I've gotten away with it, and that was kind of my reasoning why I went for it. I was like, well, I've gotten away with it before, I can get away with it here. Not the case. Leclerc turns back onto the apex, and we pick up damage out of it. No fault on the Trackhouse machine. That was all on me. So we would have to now settle in and try to rebound. We're on the hard compound tire, basically going to the end of the Grand Prix. The problem is, we're on this hard compound tire so early that we're going to gain a lot of time right now, but we're going to be losing a lot of time after everybody else makes their pit stops off of their softs and their medium tires as well. Yellow flags again. Marcus Armstrong now with a mechanical failure. I just about actually hit his car right there. But yeah, this is not going to be an easy Grand Prix from this point on. And we were gaining a lot of time on the cars in front here now. Lap 11, and Drugovich is still leading. He's been going back and forth with the Mercedes of Lando Norris, but he is right now holding onto that lead, and we had now been getting ready for some pit stops here. Alex Albon, starting lap 12, is going to be the first of the front runners to box here now, so let's see how that works out for him. And you can see a bunch of the back markers starting to pit, actually midfield as well. Here we go, right alongside Calimere, so we're right where basically where we left off with that battle. We got Mayer and Leclerc right here with us, and we would run down Tsunoda there in the BMW later in the lap now, and we're going to pass him. And you see Mayer and Leclerc side by side. They have not been able to escape and get away from each other here now, and we have now the rest of the front runners pitting, Drugovich, Jackson, as well as others, but we would be nowhere close to them, and it was Alex Albon who would get the lead after pitting a few moments earlier than everybody else. And look on the track map, look at the lead he has, and as well, look at our proximity radar. Here comes Leclerc, catching me off guard there, getting up the inside in the long sweeping left hairpin, and now we'll settle down into P9. But look at the difference the DRS makes, although we're on a pace disadvantage due to the tire difference. I mean, the DRS makes all the difference, and we're able to actually just breeze back past Leclerc in a straight line. We have to settle in behind, but we pull back out of line with that DRS again, and we'll go right back through into P8 here now. And we continue with this battle. Lap 15 again, where Leclerc got us last time. I go up into the outside while really struggling with some understeer. No damage done, but now other cars joining the party. Piastri as well as Jack Doohan into the mix behind us here. Lap 15 still right to the back of the Trackhouse machine here. We continue on now as we once again are just going to be able to breeze past if we want on Leclerc, but we're going to come to 10 laps to go here in Jeddah as we pass the Trackhouse machine. Let's go through the grid.
Albon out in front in Jeddah. Well, a great strategy call from McLaren to put him in first place here.
And there's his teammate Aiden Jackson battling with George Russell for second. This pit cycle has really changed things more than it usually does. McLaren to the front, Lando Norris down to 7th, and Drugovich, who was leading now in 4th.
Owen having a back and forth fight with Charles Leclerc, as Owen is on significantly older tyres and will struggle the rest of the Grand Prix. Alpine currently scored 13th and 16th. Of course, they will be rebranded to Lotus next season. This is a move that had been discussed in recent years, and with everyone else rebranding or bringing on a new partner, they felt the time was right to make the switch.
It was time for it to happen. The question now is, what does the driver lineup look like? I expect to see a significant shake-up in midfield lineups this year, and maybe a few top team lineups. Red Bull is looking at a Leclerc Drugovich swap with Trackhouse.
Joe, Tsunoda, the last two drivers to round off the grid as they run here with 10 laps to go in Jeddah.
And there we have through the grid here from Jeddah now, and once again Leclerc was able to pass me, but we're looking for an overtake back on him here on the run down towards that final turn. Thank you very much. On lap 16 up into P8 as we go into the final hairpin. We've been tapped in the rear and we've spun just about, but we've gone head on into the outside wall, and that was Piastri who did an unexpected lunge up the inside, and that's going to tear our front wing totally off, and the safety car will be deployed. What an idiot, dude. I mean, he just can't send it into the apex like that. I had no time to react. I wasn't ready for that one. This has been a horrendous race for me. You know, the first situation was my fault there with the damage. That situation, in reality, I would say you could say 50-50. I mean, I was the one that turned down across him, but he absolutely sent it from oblivion to get there now. So really wasn't expecting it. However, the safety car, although it sucks because I'm the one with the damage and tearing my wing off, it actually gives us an opportunity to get a pretty decent result here because I was able to put a new set of soft tires on the car. So although we're back in 18th, we're going to have a heck of an advantage here on pace. So although we crashed, us crashing might get us a better finish than what we would have gotten if we had stayed green and continued fighting with Leclerc and Mayer and them. So let's not write it off yet. I think we have a chance to get a good finish, especially although there's only 6 laps to go. We might see a lot of fighting up front. Albon leads the way. We're on the inside here of Liam Lawson. I was really not taking much time with him because he actually had a mechanical issue currently developing with the car. George Russell into second, now through into first. Russell gonna take the lead from Albon on the run down towards that final hairpin. Can he get clear? Not quite now. Albon tries to stick it around the outside, but now Russell ahead, but I don't think this is over yet. This is exactly what I'm talking about. These battles up here is really going to be presenting an opportunity for me because I'm already up to P13, passing Joe Ocon, side Sonoda as well. Wheel to wheel for the first 2 rows. Drugovich still looking for that first win in Formula 1. We thought tonight could have been the night. Getting pole, but it's not been enough. Albon stays second. Russell through to the lead. Drugovich is in P3, but hold on. Aiden Jackson continues wheel to wheel, and he'll go through into P3 instead. Now I'm coming up behind the Connor Sport duo of Jack Doohan as well as Callie Mayer. They were continuing to battle it out here, and look at this. We're going to sweep to the right side. No DRS quite yet, and nearly contact there with Doohan, but we'll continue to his right side on the run down towards this final corner there. I took it pretty easy into that corner. I didn't quite know where Mayer was going to position the car, but we go around the outside of Doohan. Now DRS lap 22. Watch this. We're going to absolutely fly right here. Now Leclerc actually closes the rear wing, and that allows me to just pounce on it up into P9. We are absolutely flying here late in these stages in Jeddah. It's not going to be enough to, of course, go up there and drive into a podium or win the race, but we are going to get a good finish here if we can keep it going. Now to the back now of Norris. You got Piastri as well as Max Verstappen up here in the mix. Can we get any of these guys on the front straight away? We have a big run on the back of the Monster Energy Mercedes machine to Verstappen. He goes defensive into turn 1, leaves himself vulnerable around the outside. That allowed Norris to pounce on him, but now Verstappen has that preferred lane on the exit of the corner, and he will stay ahead of Lando Norris. But hold on, Norris, he'll continue to fight back wheel to wheel here. It's so hard to make side by side work through here, and Verstappen's going to get the short end of the stick, and now I pounce on him here on the run towards that banked curved hairpin here, and we'll try to go around the outside now as we try to pick up that throttle. Patience there, even using the wall a little bit there. Not any damage on the car from that one. Now, and another close call right there with Lando Norris. The closing rate since we've switched on to these softs has been crazy, but we'll go around the outside of Norris. Contact there, but we're okay. You saw him have a bit of a wiggle in the car, but we move up into P7, P6 right here with 2 laps to go in Jeddah. Russell running away at this point. Now we're going to breeze past Oscar Piastri, who's having a solid night here on the Trancos machine. P7, can we run down the cars ahead for 5th and 4th? I think we can, because they continue to battle it out, but it's going to be the final lap underway here in Jeddah. Russell driving away. We have seen Mercedes win once this season. That was with Lando Norris and Suzuka. As we mentioned earlier, they're about to get their other driver to the top step of the podium here today. We have run down Drugovich and Hamilton here in the Ferrari as we continue on this final lap. Piastri about half a second behind. Don't rule him out. Maybe ready to pounce on an opportunity if it arises. So much understeer right there, so we just had to be patient. Now starting the DRS zone here, and look at the run we have. Absolutely insane. Drugovich with no DRS was planted in front of Hamilton. We breezed by both of them. Absolutely insane closing rates right there. Up into P4 on this final lap, but hold on. Drugovich, he's going to fight back. Lewis Hamilton as well, and I mean, Drugovich just did the same thing I did. It made me look so slow. Hamilton up the inside, wheel to wheel for the final time here through the final hairpin, not leaving a lot of room, but enough. George Russell wins the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix for Mercedes. Drugovich hangs on. It's going to be a rebound to P5 for us. We'll absolutely take that. Unbelievable. After the 2 extra pit stops that we didn't want to make, and we still rebound to P5 with help, of course, from the safety car. We win driver of the day.
So Mercedes have won it, and what a great race it was. Anthony Davidson, what helped them deliver this result, do you think?
Well, they certainly stood out as a drive with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
And there we have the wild Grand Prix. There really wasn't much, chaos, but it felt wild at the same time here in Jeddah. George Russell on the podium, and as well the 2 McLarens, Jackson as well as Albon. Albon already won the championship. Jackson's fighting with the guy that won the race for second in the world title, and as well we have our own fight of our own as well, because our teammate of Drugovich, due to the inconsistencies and the DNFs that we've had this season, we are in a very tight points battle with our teammate of Felipe Drugovich going into that final round, and we'll take a look at it in just a second here. That final round, of course, is going to be in Brazil. This ends the Middle East swing of the F1 calendar. Hamilton with the fastest lap point on the day. Who's going to win the final round? It's been a while since Alex Albon has actually won a race. It's crazy. Will this continue into next season? I kind of hope so, to make it a lot more interesting. But there you see, Dragovic has 1 point on us and 11 points between Jackson and Russell. It's going to get close here. It's going to be interesting to watch now, as I would like to beat my teammate in points, especially after the season we've had. In the Constructors, we're going to have a battle, 6 points between us and Mercedes going into the final round. It's going to get interesting. I'll see you guys then, where we determine the points for both. Thank you for watching. Have yourselves a great day.